Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Film Buds podcast. This is episode number 147. And my name is Henry. This week, I am joined by my friend Paul Davis.
Hey.
It's great to have you on. It's nice to see you again.
Yeah, great to be back. When was the last time that we talked? Like August?
We were on, or we did the Hellboy bonus show a few months ago, and so which you can check out. How's life? Oh, actually, I guess I should say what we're talking about.
Yeah.
This week we have a review of Terminator: Dark Fate from 2019, which is currently on Amazon Prime. And then we do have a listener question concerning if we will or will not boycott the non-theater movie era, if we haven't already. And then, a pick of the week, all the usual stuff. So thanks again for joining us. Paul, how are you? It's been a little bit since we've chatted.
Yeah, I'm doing good. We spoke in August. We did the Hellboy pre-show, which is great. And then sort of late August into September, then pretty much all of September and the first part of October was just an absolute sort of slog. Lots of upheaval and drama. But some of it subsided. I've been working on the wedding that's happening this weekend, which is going to be great. And it's been a lot of work. I've been writing again. I've been working on a sort of novelette. I'm like at 5,000 words right now.
Wow, that's awesome.
So it's been going well. Working on Sane Show. Duh, obviously.
Yeah. We should say, you are involved with a podcast as well.
Yeah, so Sane Show's been going great. We've had some really wonderful guests lately. I think our upcoming one is a former media lawyer. And he was great. He was great to talk to. Ira Abrams. Lovely man. So
nice, man.
Yeah.
Well, I guess a little PSA. If you are in the U.S., please go and vote.
Please.
Please go and vote if you have not yet. Don't wait until the last minute. Please do it as safely as you can in whatever way that is. But please go and vote. Don't wait. Have your voice heard. So please do that. Paul, anything else you want to mention, or should we get into the good stuff?
You know what? Let's just jump right into it.
Okay. Well, we do have a review of Terminator: Dark Fate, and we also have a clip, as it turns out.
Oh, okay.
So take a listen.
Talk fast.
You first.
My name is Sarah Connor. August 29, 1997. It was supposed to be Judgment Day. But I changed the future. Saved 3 billion lives. Enough of a resume for you?
No. You may have changed the future, but you didn't change our fate.
All right. Well, as we said, Terminator: Dark Fate came out in 2019, and it's directed by Tim Miller. It stars Linda Hamilton, Mackenzie Davis, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Natalia Reyes, Gabriel Luna, Diego Boneta, and that might be about it. And the synopsis is: an augmented human and Sarah Connor must stop an advanced liquid Terminator from hunting down a young girl whose fate is critical to the human race. Very original. So this one, I did see this one in theaters. I talked about it briefly way back when. But Paul, since you are the guest, would you like to kick things off?
Sure. So I got a 4K TV like right at the top of summer, like midsummer. And one of the things that I wanted to do was really go and get like some touchstones that I thought would be visually interesting, that I thought would be good. And one of the first ones that I got was Terminator 2. And so I went and I watched T2, and it was an incredible experience. Just great art, it rezzed up well, it was clean, it was great. And Terminator Dark Fate's fine. I watched it as well because I saw this thing that was like, oh, it still has a great 4K presentation that elevates it. And I was like, okay, I'll still give it a look. And it was fine. I've seen worse Terminator sequels. I've seen better examples of Terminator films. It heavily exists for me.
Yeah.
How did you feel about it?
Well, first off, Paul, I should say, I promise we are going to do that Resident Evil bonus show. I'm so sorry that I watched all of them in a week, and they're all out of my mind, so I probably will have to rewatch them if I'm going to remember anything.
Well, the good news is I took dedicated notes, so
wonderful. You're better than I, so so when I saw this in the theater, I kind of just wanted to end everything. And was not really a fan. Still am not really. Didn't hate it as much this time around. I think it's just, as with so many sequels, it just does so little to the source material, and they continually, I don't know why, they continually try and force a world into a franchise that did not really have much of one to begin with. When James Cameron set out to do that first movie, it's it's just a self-contained predator versus prey with some sci-fi elements. Yeah. That's about it. And in this, they're trying to, in summation, that monologue that Linda Hamilton gives in the motel, trying to explain why everything's happening, is the most absurd, ridiculous thing. It's just, I like Tim Miller. He did what? He did Deadpool, and he did design the opening credits for the girl with the dragon tattoo, which I love, so I have to give him credit for that. But I think it's probably my least favorite of the franchise. I haven't seen Salvation in a while, though. Actually, I haven't seen Genesis in a while either. But
I don't think that I've watched Terminator 3 since I was 11 or 12, maybe. I don't know when that movie came out, but I haven't seen that movie since I was legitimately a child. I don't remember. I don't remember watching it after I moved to Charlotte, and I moved to Charlotte in 2005. So it's been a while since I've watched the third. It's been a while since I've watched the fourth. I never saw Genesis. I had literally zero interest. I was actively repulsed by it a little bit.
Good job.
I don't know. It's a weird franchise for me because it is one of, like you said, it's one of those franchises, those legacy babies that they've gone back and tried to build something around. And I guess the issue is that, if they really wanted to... Okay, so part of the issue is that ultimately there's no clear differentiation in between the first round of Terminators and this new round.
Yeah.
The companies don't matter. The origins don't really matter. The names don't really matter. The outcomes are almost identical.
Yeah.
So they had this great opportunity to try and reinvigorate, revamp, do something. Because now we're in kind of, a drone tech world. We already have drones that do plenty of killing very efficiently. So, you need to look at this thing and be how do I take this and progress this? Not how do I go from the present I'm in now and land at the same future? And they've always had a hard time with that. The closest that they got for it in terms of actual sequels that I think functioned for maybe moving the needle was probably Salvation, but then they kind of whiff it with a bunch of really mediocre performances and a lackluster ending.
Yeah.
So as far as the Terminator sequels go, post T1, T2 is still the king. It's the grand poobah. And it's a benchmark for what sequels should be. It's exciting. It has its own story. It doesn't feel like it's repeating the same beats, And and it functions as a moving forward for the characters while also still working on its own terms.
Yeah. Do you find, to interrupt briefly, do you find that that's the case with Alien and Aliens?
Yeah, I would say so. I don't think that you actually need Alien for Aliens. You don't, I guess, honestly need any of the previous films for any of the Alien films, except for, I guess, maybe Alien Covenant. You do need Prometheus, just because that's the only way that you're going to understand David 8 and Elizabeth. Yeah. So, you know, Dark Fate's fine. I've seen the worst that this franchise has to offer without having seen Genesis. And so, like, Dark Fate's fine. It's... I left Dark Fate feeling better about what Dark Fate was than I did, like, leaving Solo about what Solo was.
That's a good comparison. I mean, it's like rewatching it today. It just feels so lazy. Like it's watchable and it's okay, but there are so many wasted opportunities, or it just shouldn't be there to begin with. Like, I think that those exposition dumps that I touched on earlier, where it overcomplicates things and it becomes laughable at times, I don't know who they're putting that in for. Yeah, because obviously, if you've seen all of these movies, you get the gist. But if you're going in blank, are you really going to come out of that movie thinking, man, I'm so glad they explained that to me like that? Like, thank God Linda Hamilton laid it all out on the table. Right. And it's things like that that really bloat it.
Well, and like, I think that a general good rule, if you're going to do an action movie, especially an action movie in like today, is I'm going to do this action set piece. Great. It's awesome. It's insane. It's cool. If I am banking on this having sequels, which they clearly were, what am I going to do to kind of hold back a little bit so that I give them something more? And I think that works on both a narrative level, but also on a visual level. And as far as narrative goes, everything is laid out so ba-boom, you know, that it's just like, well, what else is there left? And then on a visual level, there was a certain point when I was watching that ludicrous fucking plane sequence that it suddenly, like at minute, I don't know, 15, I don't know how long that thing goes for.
Yeah.
I was just like, how would I top this? Like, if I was doing a follow-up to this movie, what do I do after this? It's kind of like the same issue with the Fast and Furious films. Of course they're now thinking about going to space. They've run out of things.
They had a submarine chasing cars, you know?
It burst forth from the ice. So,
yes,
you know, I was watching that plane sequence and I was like, how do I top this? What do I do to expand on this franchise now, even at just a visual level? And the only thing I had was like 20 Terminators on the Empire State Building. That was the best thing that I could come up with.
Yeah. Now, what about in terms of the performances? I don't think Arnold is very good. I think he feels self-aware in that he's self-aware. Like, it's like a meta version of self-awareness to me.
Okay, as far as just overall strength of performances, the weakest actor for me amongst them all was the young woman, just because I felt like we needed to recast her for the older version of her, because I did not buy the young woman that I was seeing as the revolutionary I was seeing in the future.
Right.
That was one of the big gripes for me. I was just like, no. And also, like, in the future, she still looked so, like, coiffed, you know, it still looked like she had her bronzer on. And so I just didn't really buy her. She was fine for what she was now, but they try to really build her up as, like, already having all of the traits of her being the leader of man. And it's like, she can learn how. That's an acceptable character arc. So she was probably one of my weakest performers. Linda Hamilton and Arnold both just sort of felt like, oh yeah, I got this. And it wasn't like a phoning it in, but it was like a certain level of overconfidence, I think, in like having it on lock.
Yeah.
Mackenzie Davis.
I think Linda Hamilton is especially.
Yeah, definitely. She honestly gets a little chewy. You know, she starts to really bite on some of that scenery. Our two Terminators do fine. Yeah. The Diego Luna, I think it is.
Right.
Was also in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as Ghost Rider.
Oh, cool.
And he did a really good job with that. He does fine here. I mean, the benefit of a lot of the Terminators for their first outings, if you only have one, which is most of them, is you just kind of have to be there and hit your mark and be cold. And most of them, for the most part, do that. Where it gets sticky is with the people that suddenly have to feel things, and that's where it really oftentimes comes off the rails for a Terminator film. Mm-hmm. Mackenzie Davis was good.
I thought she was. Yeah, I thought she's a good. She could be a good action lead.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I thought she was excellent.
She's a performer that I've seen in like a few different things sporadically here and there. You know, Halt and Catch Fire and other things. And whenever I see her, I'm always delighted. She always gives me what I was looking for from the character, from how it was written. I feel like she always gives me 100%. If the character is written to only really get me 75% of the way there, then she can only get me that far. But her performance is never the issue for me.
Yeah. Oh, the score is by Junkie XL, who did Mad Max and co-composed Dawn of Justice as well. Scoob as well. Another classic.
Yeah, a great one. Well, you know, if we're talking, I don't remember the score really at all, which I guess might also be your point. But that's very just emblematic and indicative of the film itself. It is forgettable. It hits all the notes. It really does. Like, there's nothing... When I look at the movie, I'm like, ultimately, there's nothing that makes this, like, offensive. There's nothing in this that makes me just sort of retch and scoff and just kind of hate everything about it. But also maybe that's because now I'm at, like, you know, the 20th attempt at some major studio trying to turn a franchise around. And so maybe also just my senses are a little bit deadened on when studios try and force something, you know. Post-email scene in Batman versus Superman, nothing really shocks me.
Yeah. That's fair. No, one thing is the archival footage or the found footage at the beginning, is that from a previous movie, or was that recreated?
No,
where
that's,
she says,
like all the stuff with John and all that?
No, the stuff where she says you need to wear 2 million sunblock to protect yourself.
No, that is some of the stuff that, if I'm not mistaken, did come from T2.
Okay.
Yeah. Some of that did come from...
Okay, I'll give it a pass then.
But also, if you don't have Terminator 2 on 4K or haven't seen it on 4K recently...
I haven't.
I highly recommend.
Yeah.
Highly, highly, highly recommend.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Incredible. It's one of the best. Like, the first Jurassic Park, T2. For me, 4K... This is a very random aside. I apologize, listeners.
It's okay.
Because, like, I got Terminator Dark Fate in 4K. Here's how I'll loop it into the conversation. I got Terminator Dark Fate and T2 both in 4K. I watched them on my TV. And, like, for me, for a lot of modern films, it doesn't really do much. Honestly. Because I remember watching, like, all of the Hobbit films on my TV and watching them in theaters, and then I watched them on my 4K, and I was just like, nah. This is about how I remember the Hobbit films.
Yeah.
Where it really shines for me is in restoring old gems, old classics, and bringing them to kind of the illustrious, fuller experience that I think people remember them as having.
Yeah.
And so when I watched it, I was like, this is one of the best. This is just Good stuff. So, it's fine. James Cameron's back. It's obvious that he's back. Tim Miller was doing this after getting fired off of Deadpool 2 because of creative differences. And I think it's pretty obvious that he was stepping into something that was pretty much done. I think that he was really walking into something that was 85% of the way there and really just kind of shot the thing. One man's sort of opinion on how I think he came to it. Because nothing about this to me has the sensibility of the guy that did Deadpool other than some of the action sequences.
Yeah. Like the highway action sequence is solid.
Yeah, the highway one's great. I really love the first shop fight where she uses the sledgehammer like a baton.
That's good.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
The rest of it's a little excessive, but also then again, I like at a certain moment watching the chaos of the airplane fight, I was like, this is almost the Deadpool bullshittery of like the car sequence. This is almost the same level of like comic book hijinks of like my leads are doing some really wild shit here in a near zero G environment as this like car flips around. I had the same feeling with the plane. So yeah, it's just fine. It's just there. I had a worse time watching a lot of stuff this summer. I had a worse time watching X-Men Apocalypse.
Oh yeah.
I had a worse time watching Suicide Squad. I did.
Was that a first time watch?
No, this was time number 3 or 4.
Now, Paul, to just halt you in your tracks there, you must be so excited for Jared Leto coming back to the what is it, the Snyder Cut for Justice League?
Yeah. He's
coming back, Paul. Your favorite.
He's coming back for that abomination. Look, that train wreck was a slog at 2 hours. I don't think that there is any amount of time added on in the world that can make that experience watchable. And also at the end of the day, I think everyone's going to still be disappointed because I don't think that there's a single snowball's chance in hell that Warner Brothers jumps on him doing whatever part 2 of this is. I don't think that. He had to get a lot of the money together himself for this, so I don't think that they... So it's great. You're going to go and get your first half for a movie that you're never going to get a sequel to. Please to enjoy.
Sure. Yeah.
Why not? I'll watch it. I have morbid curiosity. I slow down for car accidents. So why not?
Yeah, and circling back to Terminator, one thing with that, like I guess the question on so many people's minds is, why do they continue to make these like sequels? And because I mean they don't do that well, all considering. I mean they do poorly critically almost always, and then they do pretty poorly financially. But the sad thing I'm very ashamed to admit is if they made another one and released it next summer, I would go see it. It's like the same thing with, not to say it's the same thing, but it's like with Marvel. I've seen all the others. I'm gonna have to see the next one. I've invested so much time already. I might as well. You know. And like, although Marvel, of course, is much better, much more thought out, much more thoughtful.
I mean, like Terminator, that third one happened at such a weird time that I think everyone just kind of forgets it and lets it exist as like the bad part of the first trilogy. And everyone's like, man, the first one was good. The second one is great. The third one isn't all that good, but they just kind of leave it be. And then Salvation gets forgotten, I think, because it was like, okay, we're going to reboot it, but we're going to try it just like continue the timeline. We're not going to do any more time travel. We're just going to go. And it did like okay, but people they wait like the right amount of time for people to be like, yeah, I think I want another Terminator movie. Like they really have figured out the science of waiting long enough for people to go, I do think I want that.
Yeah. Like, wait, what happened in the last one?
Oh, it doesn't matter. They'll explain it, I'm sure. So
which they do in great detail.
Yeah.
Let's see if there's anything else. I guess one thing, the special effects are not great. Like when someone is healing
Yeah.
It looks so glossy and digital. Don't love that. But
the movie overall, I think, has some kind of not great Rubberman effects to its CG, but I also felt like that was something that afflicted Deadpool. So I'm wondering if Tim Miller is just not a computer graphics guy. Like, I'm wondering if he would be better off if I just gave him, like, you know, a John Wick budget and was like, everything has to be done on the set. You don't have a dime beyond color grading after this film is over.
Yeah, and I think with that, he did also do, or I guess he directed and maybe produced that Love, Death, and Robots. Is it the David Fincher series on Netflix? And going back to the Dragon Tattoo credits, he loves black goo, like on the ground. He loves that.
Okay, interesting.
I don't know why, but I mean, it looks cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be a resident image for him.
Yeah. That was a little one-off there, but anyways, other than that, like the highway sequence, there are some good practical effects there. Like it does have a decent mix to where it's not all just CG.
Yeah,
it could have been a little bit more of that, but there are still some sequences that feel like you're actually watching real people, real destruction.
Yeah, and there were even parts of the final fight of, you know, Arnold and Mackenzie versus Diego that I was like, this is a pretty enjoyable little sequence, and I could obviously see that they were going to bait him into the giant spinning turbine, but like, whatever, Chekhov's gun, it's classic storytelling rules. They introduced it essentially in the first act of that scene. It has to pay off. So even though it was a little bit predictable at times, there were still parts of it that I was like, that was a good hit. I enjoyed that little bit of carnage, you know?
Yeah.
And none of them overstayed their time. As the worst one, the big offender for me is the airplane. It's the big elephant in the room. It's one of the worst sequences in the film, I think, which is hilarious because I'm sure it cost so much money.
Yeah. All right. Well, trying to think if there's anything else. Anything else for you, Paul, about Terminator Dark Fate, or just about Terminator in general?
Jesus, obvious. The title. I don't know what it is with a lot of modern films, but I feel like that are like, you know, reboots of former franchises and things like that. But I just feel like their titling is all off. You know, it's like we had Predator, then we had Predator 2, then we had Predators, and then we had The Predator. Great fourth film title, guys. Yes. Really nailing it. I thought that Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker, honestly, were both stupid subtitles.
Yes. I would agree.
So Dark Fate for me, you know, Terminator 2 Judgment Day, that makes sense. It was all about, you know, that moment where the sins of world were going to be, you know, found wanting. Boom, there goes the rest of humanity. Dark Fate, is it just because things don't end well? Well, that's not exactly the most, you know, splendiferous of titles. Anything could be a dark fate. It's vague and it sounds like it's something, but it's actually just nonsense. Dark fate. Whose fate is dark? The world's? The little girl's? Whose?
All of them, Paul. All of them.
Terrible. Boring. And I hate it.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair. Anything else about this one?
Yeah.
Will you be watching Avatar 2, 3, 4, and 5? Talking about James Cameron. I'm gonna have to.
I mean, here's the thing. I'll watch 2 if only because I think James Cameron, right, wrong, and different, I think on some level he is operating as a genius. And I think he's a little bit almost like Tesla, right? He's like a genius half the time and a madman half the time. But I'll go because I'm curious about the technology and I'm curious about the underwater filming techniques, how he revolutionized them, because, you know, if you want a great example of a modern film that did some underwater filming for real with its actor, go and watch Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. That had a whole bunch of actual underwater filming. It's one of the few that does. So if he thinks that he's got something that moved the needle in like a meaningful way past that, then I'm curious. And I'm also curious because it's probably mocap based. And I don't know how the water interacts with the cameras that are recording that movement. And so I'm fascinated by the technology just because he constantly is creating new things just so that he can then make a vision happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's going to be the next Aquaman.
You know what?
Identical.
I'll accept it. Why not at this point?
Yeah.
I'm starved for content. Give me anything.
Yeah. But did you have something else about this one, or that about it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's a 2 for me, Paul.
Yeah, that sounds fair.
It was a 1 before. It's a 2 now.
Yeah, that sounds fair.
Okay. Yeah.
That's
a fair score.
Reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we can get on to our listener question. So the filmbudspodcast at gmail.com is where you can reach us at. Also, Facebook, Twitter, and Paul, Instagram. We're also on Instagram, if you did not know. And this one we have this week from Thompson in Colorado Springs. So he says, or I could be she as well. They say, really enjoy the Buds podcasts. I know this topic has been covered a little bit before. However, more specifically, with theater chains possibly declaring bankruptcy and as a result, more movies being put to VOD instead, will you boycott those shameful movies and switch entirely over to TV even if it does not make you happy? Or will you bite the bullet and watch the movies in whatever format is available? Hope this is a good question. Keep up the splendid work. Well, thanks, Thompson.
Very polite, Thompson.
Yes, thank you. What do you think, Paul?
Okay, well, first off, it's kind of an intersection of a few different things, right? So, am I necessarily thrilled about the theater closures? No, but it's also a public health disaster right now. And more than anything, I just don't want to be complicit in a system that took a life that didn't have to. So as far as like the very right nowness of it, I'm fine with the fact that we're not in theaters. Do I wish that we could be? Yeah, absolutely. But that would have required a lot of things that honestly were never going to come to fruition in the place that we were at the start of all of this.
Yeah.
Moving past that, the death of movie theaters has been a long time coming, and it is largely their own fault. You can't tell me otherwise. It was a shitty landlord situation. They came in, they bought these apartments that were really good, that people liked, and they just kind of let them grow to crap. I can't tell you the number of bad movie theater experiences I've had in the last 5 or so years that really turned me off so much to the experience that, like, I didn't go for a little while after that, even though there were movies coming out that I wanted to see. Unclean theaters. People talking, people pulling out their phone, management not taking those things seriously. Physical altercations. I had people steal seats that, then became belligerent. Like, I've had a lot of really bad theater experiences.
Jeez.
And it's entirely because an industry came in and, was taken over by a series of people that didn't really have much passion for it, didn't really have much concern for it, and let it fall to pot. So if anyone wants to blame theaters for going out of business, it's theater owners, and they can bemoan the pandemic as much as they want. But the truth is, going to the movies was a massive American form of art for a very, very long time. And it wasn't until recently that it died off. And it also has a lot to do with the fact that the middle class is thinned out. It was a big art form for people with expendable income, and the people that were going to the movies before COVID happened were the much older, near retirement age, or people in high school, and it's because that those were the groups that had expendable income. Also, on top of all of this,
please,
movie makers, the people making these movies, have been going more and more toward massive budget films where you either have to make it or you break it. And they've been moving further and further away from mid-budget level films like It, the first one, like John Wick, the first one, where you make a movie that has a good-sized budget but isn't a micro-budget, that has someone attached to it that someone wants to see, and you let the story sort of speak for itself, and it exists and it's good. But pretty much everything nowadays is like a massive, $150 million, $250 million thing, to where, it's really pushing out a lot of the things that were the bread and butter of cinema for people.
Yeah.
So now we're at this crossroads where also the digital disruptors have already gone through and completely wrecked the system with things like Netflix, with things like Hulu, and we're at this conflagration of what's happening next. And really, it's hard to say. You have people who are really battling for the continuation of cinema as an art form, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be the way that it goes. I'm guessing that in the future we're probably going to have just big budget movies in the theaters, which is a bummer. But also, that's the way of technology, and I'm not going to fight it. I will always do what I can. I will always see movies in theaters when I can. I buy hard copies of movies constantly. I think one of the bigger threats, honestly, than the lack of theaters is that Disney just got out of releasing movies on disc, which a lot of people don't know. So, theaters, they were an arcane institute that kind of damned themselves, and the ones that were still killing it were theaters like Alamo that made a theater an experience worth going to. So if theaters want to survive, they're going to have to find a way to make themselves worthwhile to people again.
Yeah.
And that is my TED Talk. Thank you.
It's very well said. Very well said, Paul.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think just kind of touching on a small point there, like, it's getting to the point where, like, if each week a movie has to make, or total box office revenue, if it's $500 million, like, that's almost seen as a failure.
Yeah.
And that should not be the case for, 90% of movies. Like, that's a crazy amount of money earned, and that should not be seen as or based on the business side of it, that should not be a failure, most of the time.
No, not at all.
And so that they're just, again, as you said, they're just kind of hurting themselves.
Yeah, and for a little while, England was trying to really build up its film market because English films didn't really do well outside of England. And here we are, and we're really trying to chase foreign dollars. And, like, the truth of it is, American film, classic Hollywood cinema, kind of is the heartbeat for film. So, yeah, maybe we're not making as much money as China, but I'll be frank with you. Chinese movies outside of China don't really make a killing.
Yeah.
So maybe American movies outside of America don't make the killing that you want them to. Maybe instead of trying to chase that, you should just learn to accept that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, everyone, but that also goes back to this whole mindset of trying to chase the money. It has to make a killing. It has to make a killing. It has to be big. It has to, surpass this massive milestone. And it's insane. It killed the industry, and it also ended up hurting theaters in the process.
Yeah. Like there was the talk about the new James Bond having been talked about going to theaters, or having been talked about going to streaming, and it would have been like a $600 million
deal. Yeah.
Deal for that. And that's ridiculous.
That's a huge sum of money.
Yeah. And it just shows you how much money a movie like that has to make before it even breaks even.
Well, and, everyone talks about, like, production budgets. The production budget that you see listed on a site typically doesn't include the advertising. That's an entirely separate piece of the pie. And the one thing that has kind of irked me, I guess, about COVID and movie releases and things like that isn't so much that we haven't been able to go to the theaters. The thing that's been irking me more is that, they keep on kicking the can on releasing these things, and kicking the can on releasing these things, and kicking the can on releasing these things. And eventually, there's going to be such a back catalog that then for like 6 months, when this whole thing is finally done, I'm just going to get them in such a deluge.
Yeah.
that if I wasn't tired of them before, I'm going to be tired of them now.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And also, movies aren't meant to be marketed. Sorry. Movies aren't meant to be marketed for like a whole year long. They're supposed to be marketed for like 6 months-ish. And so I also don't know how they're going to get anyone interested into coming into some of these movies 2 years from now. Literally, who's going to give a cockamamie fuck about Black Widow, you know, almost 3 years after the last time you saw her?
Mm-hmm. Should that movie go on streaming? Should it be on Disney Plus?
If any studio is holding on to a film, honestly, just do it. Oh no, the theaters. Who cares? You don't, and I know you don't, because you didn't before now. So...
Yeah. Well, now, what about in the scenario, would you pay if like movies like Tenet were released, you know, each week, maybe every 2 weeks for the next year or two, would you be paying the $20 or $30 to see it?
Maybe not for all of them, but also I probably wasn't going to go to them in theaters anyway, just because, again, a movie had to really move my needle to get me into the theater anyway. Especially once I got out of Alamo territory. Alamo I loved. I could go, I could look, I could be like, that person's a menace. And then they were gone, you know. I don't know what happened. Maybe they got killed, but Alamo took them out of that theater. So, you know, I loved it. I could just sit on high and be like, that person is a terrorist. And then there they went, you know, out of the theater. But no, like, it took me a lot. One of the big movies that really turned me off to going back to the theater was Incredibles 2. I had waited so long for that movie, and then it was a terrible night at the theater. Mm-hmm. So it was a lot to move the needle on me to go and spend theater money anyway. So if the option was $20 every 2 weeks, or, you know, $20 to $30 a month for the one movie that I want, yeah,
I would agree. Sadly, like I love going to the theaters and I miss going, but I don't know. As you said, I've had some bad experiences, but also like some theaters around here are fairly decent and they're usually empty. Yeah, and so like I can kind of enjoy that, but I could see for a lot of people that being an issue consistently, as you were mentioning.
And you know, just as a little point about, you know, some people being able to revolutionize their business model in this time. For the first few months of COVID, Alamo pivoted to streaming like really weird subgenre stuff through exclusive watch parties. And now what they're doing is they're doing theater rental. So you can go in and so like for $150, you can rent out a whole theater to watch Tenet. And it can be you and a party of a few people. And honestly, like, pre-COVID, I had grown to hate the theater experience enough that, like, for certain movies, you probably could have talked me into bed for that one. Where I would have been like, you know, hey, let me go and get 10 of my friends. We'll all split this 150 10 ways.
Yeah, I would do that. Yeah.
Done and done, you know?
Yeah.
So, good question, Thompson.
Great question, yeah. But man, I want to see Tenet, Paul. I really want to see Tenet.
I do too. But, I look forward to streaming it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, thanks again for the question, Thompson. And if you're a new listener or if you've been listening for a while, to everybody out there, please send us any questions, comments, thoughts, you know, whatever. We love hearing from people. And make sure to follow us on social media. So I guess we can end off with our pick of the week. Paul, would you like to kick things off? I mean, you've already mentioned a few things that you've been watching over the last few months, but
sure. Actually, I guess if I was going to pick anything for the week, my main pick of the week would actually be the horror film Hush, directed by Mike Flanagan. Yeah. It's the same director who did, if you don't know, Bly Manor, Haunting of Hill House. He did Gerald's Game, Dr. Sleep. So he's done some really great stuff. Bly Manor's just okay. But Hush is a great little home invasion horror film where they they have a deaf lead character, and instead of that deafness being strictly a hindrance or strictly like some sort of weird strength, like some sort of weird superhero power, it's just an attribute. It has ups and it has downs, and it works for her character. And it's an enjoyable little two-man show. It's got John Gallagher Jr., so if anyone here is a big Broadway fan, you can go and you can watch some Herr Moritz. So I would give Hush a big watch. And that's probably my main pick of the week.
Okay. Yeah, Mike Flanagan is a pretty interesting director.
Yeah.
He's always one to watch for. I haven't watched Bly Manor yet, but I guess...
You can skip it.
Okay. As I was mentioning to Paul yesterday, I started watching Marvel's Agent Carter, which is on Disney Plus, and I'd been wanting to watch this one for a while, and this show rocks. Like, I could not believe... Nice, you got the Blu-ray right there. This show is so good. I could not believe how... I watched about half of the first season last night. Like, it's so entertaining. The 1940s setting is done so well. It's acted well. It's written so tightly. There aren't many loose ends. It's very focused. And I think really one of the only issues with it is its kind of obligation to the sci-fi comic book elements at times, which is just, special effects, and it doesn't always hold up.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, it's dramatic, for lack of a better word. It's fun. It's tense. It's really good. I can't wait to keep. I'm so angry that they've canceled it. So angry.
Yeah, two honestly great seasons, and I hate to tell you this, but I do have to tell you this. Season
Please.
2, you're going to be left with a cliffhanger that they are not going to answer because that show gets canceled.
Great.
So buckle up for that. Buckle up for heartbreak.
Yeah, can't wait.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and I think what works really well is I know very little, aside from having watched the Marvel films. I know nothing about the Agent Carter character, and going into the show fairly blank works. It works as just a kind of a espionage series. You don't really need to have a whole lot of background on it to enjoy it or to understand it. It flows well, and it's written by the guys who did, I guess, Winter Soldier, Civil War, I think, and some of the Avengers films as well. I think so. And yeah, it's one of the most enjoyable shows I've seen in a while. So I would give that one a poke. Yeah,
definitely. It's a great show. I very much enjoy it.
Yeah. So angry. That's so disappointing. But anyways. All right. Well, Paul, is there anything else you want to mention about anything?
No. Everyone's stay safe. The signs are pointing toward fall and winter being a little bit of a surge for us, not only here at home, but internationally. So keep safe, keep watching, keep consuming,
keep listening.
Come and check out Sane Show. We tackle media from a sort of globalist perspective, and we do some really interesting interview work over there.
You just had, didn't you just have the someone from Showtime on there, right?
Yes, we did. We had Kate Wagner, who's a producer over at Showtime. So yeah, definitely come over, check us out. But yeah, stay safe, vote.
Yes.
And also, if you find watching growing dull, create something and create the thing that you wish that you were watching, and it'll probably be pretty good.
Yeah. That's a really good point. Yeah, well said. I think that's about it for me. Next week, as always, with everything going on, it's a little bit up in the air as to what we'll be reviewing. But Paul, you are welcome back anytime. Please come back soon.
Yeah, please. Anytime.
Yeah. And yeah, so again, follow us on social media. That's how you'll stay updated with all the stuff coming soon. Go to thefilmbuds.com and join the mailing list. It's just one email a week, and you get, updates about Film Buds, Music Buds, all that good stuff. So do that. Yeah. Okay. Well, Paul, thank you again. It's great to see you, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Great to see you.
Yeah, my pleasure. All right. Well, we hope everybody enjoyed it. That sounded weird. Everybody enjoyed it. We hope everybody enjoyed it as much as we did. And we'll see you next time.